party would be comfortable with people who attacked police officers at the Capitol.
Oh, wait, Piers Morgan is actually going to give some criticism? Okay. We might finally be here where we can praise Piers Morgan because he has been so biased towards Trump that maybe the nuanced version of Piers Morgan is finally here. The Elon Musk slammed for Nazi salute stuff, I think is stupid. I think it was ridiculous. I think it's a waste of energy. I think it's a waste of breath. I'm not a fan. So right off rip, I made my stance very clear. I thought any leftists that were going like, oh, he's saluting Nazis, you're wasting your breath and you're missing the plot. I'll move on to that. I don't really care about that conversation. Don't really care about the Tesla SpaceX stuff. All right, let's see how this goes.
How violent it was and how scary it was to watch people break into the Capitol.
Because of my political background, I would pardon my own sons. I went on, I don't have a problem with that. I expected him to do it. My issue there is he lied and said he wouldn't do it when I think
I agree. I've already said this. I'm going to say it again every time in the video so people know where I stand. I think Joe Biden, I understand the logic of why he did a pardon for family members and why he did a pardon for certain political figures. I think he shouldn't have done it regardless. I think it's dumb. I'm not a big fan of pardons. And I think him lying is also a problem. If you're going to go back on your word, communicate. Tell the people, this is why I went back on my word. So, not a fan of lying, not a fan of pardons. So, that's 2 strikes, Joe Biden. I didn't like that. Not a fan. Think it was dumb.
that was going on in Washington, D.C. for months, as we saw with BLM. And in one fell swoop, rather than get into the intricacy and the nuance and say, hey, this guy's going to be treated differently, he just said, I'm putting this behind us. This is no longer going to be the argument that this is a worse day than Pearl Harbor, January 6th, or that this was the most dastardly and awful day for the Republic since the Civil War. We're putting this all behind us. One more thing. I wish Biden had pardoned Trump. If I were advising him, I would have said...
Oh, so this guy's MAGA. Okay. Because it sounds like he's okay with January 6ers being pardoned, and now you wanted Donald Trump being pardoned. Okay, so he lost all credibility for me in like the first 5 seconds of me hearing him speak.
To do it because if he cares about his legacy, Biden could have done this and just...
There's no logic to this, and everything he's saying is stupid. I'm not gonna lie.
Wipe the slate clean once and for all.
Wipe the slate clean? What?
Era is awful. We shouldn't do it. That's what I would encourage.
I think that's a good.
No, it's not a good point, Piers. You can't just go back on things that you've done. Yo, people do not care about criminal actions, huh? But let me consider.
Yeah, I want to treat like
day and day for what happened on January 6th and whitewashed and gaslighted all of America essentially about that day. And anyone who was watching that day knows how violent it was and how scary it was to watch people break into the Capitol building. So, now that they're okay with these people back on the streets facing little to no consequences for their actions, I think it's disgraceful. And if these insurrectionists were, again, like he said, BLM, I think they would not have even considered pardons for them. So it's suffice to say that I don't think that the GOP today has steady moral. Yeah, many of them did, and I think it's suffice to say that they have steady morals when it comes to crime. But we already knew that because they endorsed.
Kamala bailed them out. Kamala raised money to bail out the people who were burning down Minneapolis. The tweet.
I guarantee that this is a misrepresentation of the situation because that's all MAGA does. So, and oh my gosh,
it's still up.
I'll let it go.
And if Trump had raised money to bail out people before they even got
he
charged,
pardoned him.
The comparison to the damage done by BLM and the January 6th is seismic, right? There were tens of billions of dollars in damages during the months-long BLM protests. Fauci, who just got a pardon, people couldn't even say goodbye to their grandmas and grandpas in hospitals. They had to record videos and
he's just conflating a lot of so he's the worst type of MAGA. Okay.
Says, well, hundreds of thousands
he's the worst type of MAGA. Okay. All right.
this is more important than wearing a mask and being concerned about COVID.
Just
This was when
conflating a
lot
bunch
people
of
started
issues to
looking
make
around and
people
saying,
confused.
This is fundamentally
He's
broken.
one of the worst
And
type
so
of
these
people.
guys have all,
Okay.
again, a pardon. You can argue it should have been a commutation, could have been a pardon. Most of these guys, the 1,500 plus and gals, have all been punished already. And if you look, this is important, in Washington, D.C., half of all felony charges are dropped and lowered to misdemeanors. They basically don't put
Conflating a lot of information. He's gonna forget about the most. Sure, I don't care about the most. I care about the violent ones. If the other people who barely did anything, sure, not a skin off my back. Joe Biden did a bunch of pardons and commutations for non-violent drug offenders. Same logic to me, but let's not get it twisted. There were definitely violent people who assaulted police officers, and then obviously we got Enrico Tarrio who did a seditious conspiracy. So he's just conflating a lot of information to make it seem like no big deal, but in reality it is a big deal. And he's one of the worst type of MAGA people because he wants to manipulate the people to make it seem like it's a normal thing that Donald Trump did.
in
Okay.
Joe
Cop
Biden's administration,
attackers?
unless you were involved in the
cop
January 6th
attackers,
riots.
Clay?
So they weren't treated equally and
Shut up.
Cops and tase cops and bear mace cops in D.C. get misdemeanors? I would like to see the evidence of that.
There
I
is
just don't understand.
none.
If
I
you're
guarantee
so cool
there's
with
none.
this, if you're just like, whatever, it's no big deal, let's wipe the slate clean. Why don't we wipe the slate clean and let out all of the BLM rioters who attacked cops too? Let everybody out. It was unfair, was politicized.
I don't
like,
think
this
hardly
is,
any
this
of
is
them were
absurd.
actually
You can't
put in
decide on a
prison.
case by case.
But if
Yes,
I will
of
say
course
this,
they were.
if- let me
Of course
finish,
they were.
Tim, to your
Google
point.
it, Clay. Of course they were.
He's just one of the person that has narratives and then he just says things and nobody fact checks him. He doesn't care about being fact checked. He's just gonna stick with his narratives and that's I hate people like him. I don't know how do people like this have popular I know how. MAGA, I'm not mad at you. I know how he got it. He just
hardly
People that attack
anybody was
police go to
prosecuted.
prison.
They prosecuted thousands of people. Hold on. If there are, I'll follow up. If there are
No, you
BLM
won't.
protesters who were put in prison
Who attacked
and are
cops.
still there because of the actions that they undertook, hold on, the actions that they undertook, and they were prosecuted far more so than somebody who was accused of carjacking or someone who was accused of a robbery that was not politically related, I would also support them being released from prison because if they were treated unfairly relative to the standard of the law, to me, that is an injustice. We have to
you see how he's trying to create a very fine line. He's trying to create a very, very specific scenario to cover all his bases because he's full of shit. Oh, yeah.
treat like crimes
Oh,
in
yeah.
a like.
We're in a rare place.
Tased a cop,
Yeah, I don't think
and
anyone
he's being
that
let
committed.
off. Like
I agree. Listen, Tim, I agree with you. We're in a rare place today. I'm finding myself nodding away to a lot of what you're saying. I just think that J.D. Vance was right. And if I was Donald Trump, I would not have pardoned the ones who attacked police officers because it goes against everything Trump believes about the police and law and order and all the rest of it. I think it's kind of disrespectful to the police.
He's
Let
not
me.
one to listen to
it's a
vice
brave new world,
presidents.
Piers. We should have
Let's not
tea
forget
after this.
that.
Right?
I'll
Pierce
get
having a
tea.
nuanced
Has to be
take.
Yorkshire Gold, just for the record, and you need 5
You gotta
bags
draw
in a
the
pot.
line at tea.
5
Come on,
bags
at
in a
least
pot, and you have to
coffee.
put the milk in the cup first, otherwise it doesn't work. I want to bring in Riley Gaines now to join the panel.
Wait. That's it? That's it? You have a whole thing about the Elon Musk Nazi salute stuff. You say one sentence? One sentence about Donald Trump pardoning violent offenders? That's it? Why am I not surprised? I try to give Piers Morgan the benefit of the doubt coming into this. Why am I not surprised? Oh, buddy. Oh, pal. It's not okay. Okay. National Cathedral Bishop. I don't care about that. Why I can't identify as a horse? What? Cancel's on OnlyFans now. Okay. I don't care about the rest of this. I'm disappointed in Piers again. Like, he had one nuanced take. One. But it was just like 20 seconds. And then everything else is about shitting on the left. Not surprised, boy.